Amara Johnson's vision blurred as she tried to focus on her daughter's face. The room spun violently, and suddenly the floor rushed up to meet her. Her 18-month-old baby, Harmony, tumbled gently onto the soft carpet beside her as Amara's body went completely limp. The crushing pain in her chest felt like an elephant sitting on her rib cage, squeezing the life out of her lungs. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't move. She couldn't call for help. This was it. She was dying on the floor of her tiny apartment, and her baby was alone. Harmony stood up, her small face confused as she looked at her mother's motionless body. Amara tried to speak, tried to tell her daughter everything would be okay, but no sound came out. The pain in her chest intensified, radiating down her left arm. Her fingers were numb. Cold sweat covered her face and neck. Through the fog of consciousness, Amara watched helplessly as Harmony toddled toward her. The baby touched her mother's face with tiny hands, patting her cheeks. "Mama? Mama?" Harmony's voice was small and frightened. Amara's eyes began to close. The darkness was pulling her under. She fought to stay awake, but her body wouldn't cooperate. The last thing she saw was Harmony picking up the phone that had fallen from her hand. The baby pressed buttons randomly on the screen, making the phone light up with different colors. Then everything went black. Have you ever wondered how a single moment can change your entire life? How would you react if you were dying and the only person who could save you was barely old enough to walk? Drop a comment below and tell us what you think happened next. And if you want to hear more stories about hope, love, and miracles, hit that subscribe button right now. 24 hours earlier, Amara Johnson had been running on 3 hours of sleep and 2 cups of coffee. At 28 years old, she felt like she was 48. Every bone in her body ached. Every muscle screamed for rest. But rest wasn't an option when you were a single mother with bills piling up and a daughter depending on you. She stood at the front desk of the Riverside Hotel, wearing her bright red employee vest over a white blouse. Her feet throbbed in her worn sneakers. She'd been standing for 6 hours straight, checking guests in and out, answering phone calls, and solving problems with a smile on her face that never quite reached her eyes. "Thank you for choosing Riverside Hotel. Have a wonderful evening," Amara said to the couple in front of her. As soon as they walked away, she glanced at the clock. Only 2 more hours until her shift ended. Then she could pick up Harmony from the daycare down the street, go home, feed her daughter, play with her for a bit, put her to bed, and maybe, just maybe, get 5 hours of sleep before starting all over again. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. A text from the daycare. Reminder, payment due by Friday or Harmony cannot attend next week. Amara's stomach clenched. Friday was 3 days away and she was still short $150. She'd already worked 45 hours this week at the hotel. Her weekend shift at the grocery store would help, but it wouldn't be enough. She closed her eyes for just a moment, feeling the weight of the world pressing down on her shoulders. "Excuse me, miss?" A guest's voice pulled her back to reality. Amara opened her eyes and put on her professional smile. "Yes, sir. How can I help you?" By the time her shift ended at 9 p.m., Amara could barely walk straight. She picked up Harmony from the daycare, ignoring the judgmental look from the owner when she mentioned she'd pay on Friday. Harmony was all smiles, reaching for her mother with chubby arms. That smile made everything worth it. "Mama. Mama." Harmony squealed with delight. "Hi, baby girl," Amara whispered, holding her daughter close. The sweet smell of Harmony's hair, the warmth of her small body, these were the moments that kept Amara going. Their apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old building in the less expensive part of town. The elevator was broken again, so Amara climbed the stairs slowly, carrying Harmony and her work bag. By the time she reached their door, she was breathing hard. Inside the small 1-bedroom apartment, Amara set Harmony down and immediately went to the kitchen. She heated up leftover rice and chicken for dinner, splitting it between 2 plates. Harmony sat in her high chair, banging her sippy cup on the tray. "Just a minute, sweetie," Amara said, her voice tired but gentle. They ate together in comfortable silence. Well, as silent as dinner with an 18-month-old could be. Harmony threw some rice on the floor, giggled, and tried to feed her stuffed bear. Amara watched her daughter with a mixture of love and worry. Was she doing enough? Was this life good enough for her baby girl? After dinner, Amara gave Harmony a quick bath in their tiny bathroom. The water from the faucet came out brown for the first few seconds, as it always did. She made a mental note to mention it to the landlord again, knowing he probably wouldn't fix it. Bath time was Harmony's favorite. She splashed and laughed, making Amara smile despite her exhaustion. These moments of pure joy, these were what mattered. By 10:30 p.m., Harmony was in her crib, fast asleep. Amara stood in the doorway of the bedroom, watching her daughter's chest rise and fall with each peaceful breath. The crib was old, donated by a church, but Amara had made it cozy with soft blankets and stuffed animals. Amara should have gone to sleep. She should have crawled into her own bed and gotten as much rest as possible before her 6 a.m. alarm went off. But instead, she sat at the small kitchen table and opened her laptop. Bills needed to be paid. She needed to figure out how to make the numbers work. Rent, $850. Electric, $120. Water, $45. Daycare, $600. Groceries, $300. Phone, $60. That didn't include transportation, clothes for Harmony, diapers, or any unexpected expenses. Her paycheck from the hotel was $1,800 a month, and her grocery store shifts added another $600. She was always short, always scrambling. Amara rubbed her temples, feeling a dull ache building behind her eyes. She'd had headaches a lot lately. And chest tightness. She kept telling herself it was just stress. Just exhaustion. Nothing to worry about. She couldn't afford to be sick. She couldn't afford to miss work. She definitely couldn't afford a doctor's visit. At midnight, Amara finally closed her laptop and got ready for bed. She changed into an old t-shirt and shorts, brushed her teeth and checked on Harmony one more time. Her daughter was sleeping peacefully, one small hand clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit. Amara set her alarm for 5:30 a.m. and climbed into bed. Sleep came quickly, pulling her under like a wave. But it wasn't restful sleep. She tossed and turned, dreaming of bills and closed doors and running through endless hallways trying to reach Harmony, who was always just out of reach. The next morning came too soon. Amara's alarm blared at 5:30, and she dragged herself out of bed feeling like she hadn't slept at all. Her chest felt tight. Her left arm had a strange tingling sensation. She rubbed it absently as she got dressed for work, putting on her bright blue jeans and a green sweater. Just stress, she muttered to herself. Just need more sleep. Harmony woke up at 6 a.m., cheerful and energetic as always. Amara went through their morning routine on autopilot. Diaper change. Breakfast. Get dressed. Pack the diaper bag. Out the door by 7 a.m. The daycare opened at 7:30. Amara's shift at the hotel started at 8. She had just enough time if everything went smoothly. But everything didn't go smoothly. The bus was late. Harmony had a meltdown about wearing shoes. By the time Amara dropped her daughter off and rushed to work, she was 15 minutes late. Her manager, Mrs. Rodriguez, gave her a warning. One more late arrival this month and we'll have to write you up, Amara. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again, Amara promised, even though she knew she couldn't control the bus schedule or toddler tantrums. The day dragged on. Every guest seemed to have a complaint. Every phone call took forever. Amara's chest tightness got worse as the hours passed. She took deep breaths, trying to calm herself. The tingling in her left arm came and went. By lunchtime she felt slightly better. She ate a granola bar at the desk and drank water. Maybe she was just dehydrated. Maybe she needed vitamins. The afternoon was busier than the morning. A large group checked in for a conference. Amara processed 17 rooms in 2 hours, never sitting down, never taking a real break. Her feet were killing her. At 5 p.m. her shift finally ended. She practically ran to the daycare, grateful that today she'd have the whole evening with Harmony. No second job tonight. They could have quality time together. Harmony was thrilled to see her. Mama. Mama. Home. Yes, baby. We're going home, Amara said, scooping her up. Back at their apartment, Amara decided they'd have a special evening. She couldn't afford to buy anything new, but she could give Harmony attention and love. That was free. They played on the living room floor with Harmony's toys. Building blocks, toy cars, stuffed animals. Harmony's laughter filled the small space, and for a little while, Amara forgot about bills and exhaustion and worry. More, Mama. More. Harmony demanded, stacking blocks as high as her little arms could reach. Amara built a tall tower and Harmony knocked it down with delight. They did it again and again, Harmony giggling every single time. Then it happened. Amara reached for another block and suddenly the room tilted. The crushing pain in her chest came back, 10 times worse than before. She couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Her left arm went completely numb. She tried to stand but her legs wouldn't work. She fell forward, managing to gently push Harmony aside so she wouldn't land on her. The last thing she saw was her daughter's confused face before everything went dark. Harmony stood up, wobbling slightly. She looked at her mother's still body on the carpet. Mama? Mama? She said, her voice getting worried. Amara didn't move. Harmony patted her mother's face with small hands. Nothing. She tried pulling on Amara's arm. Still nothing. The toddler didn't understand what was happening, but she knew something was wrong. Very wrong. That's when Harmony saw the phone on the floor. The shiny rectangle that Mama was always looking at. Harmony picked it up with both hands and started pressing buttons like she'd seen Mama do. The screen lit up. Different colors appeared. Harmony pressed more buttons. Through the thin walls of the apartment building, a sound could be heard. A phone ringing. Then footsteps in the hallway. Quick, urgent footsteps. A man's voice. Hello? Is someone there? I heard something fall. The doorknob rattled. Hello? Do you need help? Then a loud bang as the door was forced open. A tall man in a maroon sweater rushed inside, his eyes going wide when he saw Amara on the floor. Oh my God, Christopher Bennett said, immediately pulling out his phone and dialing 911. I need an ambulance. Woman down, unconscious, possibly a heart attack. Third floor, apartment 304, Riverside Apartments. He knelt beside Amara, checking for a pulse. It was there but weak. He looked at little Harmony, who was standing nearby holding the phone, and his heart broke. It's okay, sweetheart, he said gently. Help is coming. Your mama's going to be okay. But he wasn't sure if that was true. The hospital room was too bright. That was the first thing Amara noticed when she opened her eyes. White walls, white sheets, fluorescent lights overhead. Everything was too white, too clean, too sterile. Where was she? What happened? Then she remembered. The crushing pain. The floor. Harmony. Harmony. Amara tried to sit up, but her body wouldn't cooperate. Wires and tubes connected her to beeping machines. Easy, easy, a nurse's calm voice said. You're at Memorial Hospital. You had a heart attack, honey. You need to stay still. A heart attack. Amara was only 28 years old. People her age didn't have heart attacks. My daughter, Amara said urgently. Where's my daughter? She's only 18 months old. She was alone with me. Where is she? Your daughter is safe, the nurse assured her. A neighbor brought you both in. The little one is with hospital social services right now. She's being well taken care of. Neighbor? What neighbor? Amara barely knew anyone in her building. Everyone kept to themselves. I need to see her, Amara said, trying again to sit up. Pain shot through her chest and she gasped. You need to rest, the nurse said firmly. Doctor will be in soon to explain everything. And your neighbor is in the waiting room. He's been here all night. All night? How long had she been unconscious? The nurse left and Amara stared at the ceiling, trying to process everything. A heart attack. Hospital bills. Harmony and social services. This was a nightmare. A few minutes later, a doctor came in. He was middle-aged with kind eyes and a gentle manner. Ms. Johnson, I'm Dr. Patterson. How are you feeling? Scared, Amara answered honestly. What happened to me? Dr. Patterson pulled up a chair beside her bed. You experienced a myocardial infarction. A heart attack. It was caused by extreme stress and exhaustion. Your body simply shut down. But I'm 28, Amara said weakly. Young people can have heart attacks, especially under extreme circumstances. Your blood pressure was dangerously high. You were severely dehydrated and malnourished. Ms. Johnson, your body was running on empty. When did you last have a full meal? Or 8 hours of sleep? Amara couldn't remember. Weeks ago. Months? You're lucky your neighbor found you when he did, Dr. Patterson continued. Another few minutes and the outcome might have been very different. Your daughter somehow managed to make noise that alerted him. Tears filled Amara's eyes. Can I see her? Please? Soon, the doctor promised. First, we need to talk about your treatment plan. You'll need to stay here for at least 3 days. We have you on medication to stabilize your heart. After discharge, you'll need follow-up care, more medication, and significant lifestyle changes. You cannot continue working the way you have been. Amara's tears spilled over. I don't have insurance. I can't afford any of this. And if I can't work, I can't pay rent or feed my daughter. I don't know what to do. The doctor's expression was sympathetic. Let's focus on getting you healthy first. The hospital has financial assistance programs. We'll connect you with a social worker. After the doctor left, Amara cried. She cried for the hopelessness of her situation. She cried for Harmony, who must be so scared and confused. She cried for the life she'd been trying so hard to build that had just come crashing down. She must have dozed off because the next thing she knew, there was a gentle knock on her door. Miss Johnson? Are you awake? A man's voice, unfamiliar but kind. Amara opened her eyes to see a tall man standing in the doorway. He was around 35 with warm brown eyes and an honest face. He wore the same maroon sweater from when she collapsed. "Hi," he said softly. "I'm Christopher Bennett. I'm your neighbor from apartment 306. I wanted to check on you." Amara stared at him, pieces clicking into place. "You saved my life." Christopher shook his head. "Your daughter saved your life. That little girl is incredibly smart. She made enough noise with your phone that I heard it through the wall. When I came to check, I found you both. Where is she? Is she okay?" "She's perfect," Christopher said, stepping into the room. "I've been with her most of the time. The social worker said family members get priority, but since I'm the one who brought you in, they let me stay. She's eating, playing, completely fine. A little confused about why Mama isn't there, but okay." Fresh tears fell down Amara's face. "Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know how to repay you." "You don't need to repay me," Christopher said, pulling a chair close to her bed. "I just did what anyone would do." They sat in silence for a moment. Then Amara asked, "How long have you lived in that building? I've never seen you before." 3 months, Christopher said. "I bought the building actually. I'm in real estate development. I've been renovating apartments one by one. I live in one while I work on the others. I usually keep to myself." "You bought the whole building?" Amara was stunned. "I know it needs a lot of work," Christopher said with a small smile. "That's why I got it for a good price. The plan is to fix it up, make it a better place for families to live." Before Amara could respond, there was another knock. A woman in business attire entered, carrying a tablet. "Ms. Johnson, I'm from hospital billing. I need to go over some financial information with you." Amara's chest tightened with anxiety. "Can this wait? I just woke up." "It'll only take a moment," the woman said, her tone professional but cold. "Your preliminary bill is $47,000. That includes the ambulance, emergency room, ICU stay, medications, and doctor consultations. And that's just for the first day. With your continued stay, we estimate the total will be around $75,000. The room spun. $75,000? Amara didn't have $75. How could she possibly pay $75,000? "I don't have insurance," Amara whispered. "I can't pay that." "We have payment plans available," the billing woman said. "You'd need to fill out financial assistance paperwork, provide proof of income, and—" "I'll take care of it," Christopher said suddenly. Both women turned to look at him. "Excuse me," the billing woman said. "I'll cover her medical expenses. All of them. Whatever the final total is, send the bill to me." Christopher pulled out his wallet and handed her a business card. "Send all charges to my company. We'll handle payment in full." Amara's mouth fell open. "What? No, you can't do that. That's too much. I can't let you." Christopher turned to her, his expression gentle but firm. "Amara, you almost died because you were working yourself into the ground trying to provide for your daughter. You can't continue like this. Let me help. Please." "But I don't even know you," Amara said, her voice breaking. "Why would you do this for a stranger?" "Because I can," Christopher said simply. "Because you need help and I'm in a position to give it. Because that beautiful little girl out there needs her mother healthy and alive. Let me do this." The billing woman looked between them, clearly confused but also pleased. "If you're serious, sir, we'll need you to sign some forms." "I'm completely serious," Christopher said. Amara's mind raced. Everything in her wanted to refuse. She'd been taking care of herself and Harmony alone for so long. Accepting help, especially this much help from a stranger, felt wrong. Felt like charity. Felt like she was admitting defeat. But then she thought about Harmony. About the doctor's warning. About how close she'd come to leaving her daughter alone in this world. "Okay," Amara whispered. "Thank you. I don't know how I'll ever repay you, but thank you." Relief washed over Christopher's face. "You don't need to repay me. Just focus on getting better." The billing woman had Christopher sign several documents, then left looking satisfied. Amara and Christopher sat in silence. Finally, Amara spoke. "Why are you really doing this?" Christopher was quiet for a long moment. "My mother was a single parent. She worked 3 jobs to raise me and my sister. When I was 10, she got sick. Really sick. But she couldn't afford treatment, and she didn't want to accept help from anyone. She died when I was 12. "I'm so sorry," Amara said. "I made a promise then that if I ever had the means to help someone in a similar situation, I would. No questions asked. No judgment. Just help." Christopher met her eyes. "I built my business from nothing. I'm fortunate now. And I want to use that fortune to make a difference. Still, Amara said. This is beyond generous. It's what needs to happen, Christopher interrupted gently. Now let's talk about what else you need. Where's Harmony's father? Is there family who can help with childcare while you recover? Amara's face fell. Her father left when I was 5 months pregnant. Said he wasn't ready to be a dad. I haven't heard from him since. And my parents died in a car accident when I was 19. I have an aunt in Ohio, but we're not close. It's just me and Harmony. Not anymore, Christopher said firmly. I've already arranged for a professional nanny service. One of their best caregivers, Nicole, is with Harmony right now. She'll continue caring for her while you're here and after you're discharged for as long as you need. Christopher, I can't. Yes, you can, he said. You're going to accept this help with gratitude, and you're going to get better, and you're going to be the amazing mother I can see you are. Deal? Amara nodded, tears streaming down her face. Deal. Thank you. You're welcome, Christopher said with a warm smile. Now, do you want to see your daughter? I can have them bring her in. Please, Amara said. More than anything. 10 minutes later, a cheerful woman in her 50s brought Harmony into the room. The moment Harmony saw her mother, her whole face lit up. Mama. Mama, she squealed, reaching for Amara. The nanny, Nicole, carefully placed Harmony on the bed beside Amara. The little girl immediately snuggled into her mother's side, and Amara wrapped her arms around her daughter as much as the 4 tubes would allow. Hi, baby girl, Amara whispered, kissing Harmony's head. Mama's right here. Mama's okay. Okay, Mama, Harmony repeated, patting Amara's face with her small hands. Christopher watched from his chair, a soft expression on his face. This was why he'd worked so hard to build his success. This moment right here. The ability to help. The power to change someone's life for the better. He'd been living in that building for 3 months, always hearing Amara's footsteps in the hallway at odd hours, hearing the baby cry sometimes at night, hearing Amara comfort her with soft lullabies. He'd wanted to introduce himself, maybe offer to help fix things in her apartment since he knew the building had issues. But he'd never found the right moment. Now he had. And he wasn't going to waste it. 3 days later, Amara was ready to be discharged. The doctors had stabilized her heart, adjusted her medications, and given her strict instructions about rest, diet, and stress management. She felt weak but hopeful. She was alive and she was going home to her daughter. Nicole had been staying in Amara's apartment with Harmony, and Christopher had visited every day. He brought fresh clothes for Amara, made sure Harmony was happy, and kept Amara company during the long hospital hours. On the morning of her discharge, Christopher arrived earlier than usual. He looked concerned. What's wrong? Amara asked, seeing his expression. Christopher sat down carefully. I have some bad news. Your apartment building failed a safety inspection 2 days ago. The whole structure is unstable. The city has condemned it. Everyone has to move out within 2 weeks. Amara's heart sank. Of course this would happen now. Where am I supposed to go? I can't afford a new place. I haven't even been working. I don't have first and last month's rent saved up. I have a solution, Christopher said. I own a house across town. It has a guest house on the property. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, fully furnished. I want you and Harmony to stay there. No rent. Just focus on recovering. Christopher, I can't keep taking from you, Amara protested. You've already done so much. You're not taking anything, Christopher said patiently. The guest house is empty. It's just sitting there. You'd actually be doing me a favor by living in it. Empty houses deteriorate faster than occupied ones. Amara wanted to argue, but she had no other options. How long can we stay? As long as you need, Christopher said. 6 months. A year. However long it takes for you to get back on your feet properly. Amara closed her eyes, overwhelmed by his continued generosity. Thank you. I accept. With so much gratitude. Good, Christopher said with a smile. Nicole already moved yours and Harmony's things over. Everything's ready. That afternoon, Christopher drove Amara and Harmony to his property. Amara stared out the window as they left her old neighborhood and entered a completely different world. Tree-lined streets. Beautiful houses. Manicured lawns. This is your neighborhood? Amara asked, stunned. Home is wherever you make it, Christopher said simply. They pulled into a long driveway. The main house was impressive, a 2-story modern design with lots of windows. But Christopher drove past it to a smaller building behind it. The guest house was beautiful. White siding, blue shutters, a small front porch with rocking chairs. Christopher helped Amara out of the car, and Nicole appeared at the door with Harmony in her arms. "Mama. Mama." Harmony called out. Inside, the guest house was even better than Amara imagined. An open living room and kitchen, 3 bedrooms down a hallway, and everything was clean, modern, and comfortable. One bedroom had been set up as a nursery with a new crib, toys, and everything a toddler could need. "Christopher," Amara said, her voice thick with emotion. "This is too much." "It's exactly right," Christopher corrected. "Your bedroom is the one at the end of the hall. I stocked the kitchen with groceries. If you need anything else, just let me know." Nicole gave Amara a tour while Christopher played with Harmony. The nanny explained she'd be coming every weekday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. to help with Harmony, do light housework, and make sure Amara was resting as ordered. By evening, Nicole had gone home, and Amara and Harmony were alone in their new space. Amara put her daughter in the bathtub, marveling at the clean water that came out clear from the very first second. No rust. No weird smell. After bath time, Amara made Harmony dinner in the beautiful kitchen. Everything she needed was there. Fresh vegetables, fruit, chicken, pasta. The refrigerator was full of healthy food. As Harmony ate her dinner in the new high chair that had somehow appeared, Amara looked around. This didn't feel real. Less than a week ago, she'd been dying on the floor of a run-down apartment. Now she was living in a guest house that was nicer than any place she'd ever dreamed of. There was a gentle knock on the door. Christopher stood on the porch, holding a container. "I made too much soup," he said with a sheepish smile. "Thought you might want some." Amara opened the door wider. "Come in, please." Christopher entered, setting the soup container on the counter. He looked at Harmony, who immediately reached for him. "Hi there, little one," he said, picking her up. "How's your first day in the new house?" "Good," Harmony said, though she probably didn't understand the question. Amara watched them together. Christopher was natural with her daughter, gentle and playful. Harmony seemed to trust him completely. "Can you stay for dinner?" Amara asked. "It's the least I can do after everything." Christopher hesitated, then nodded. "I'd like that." They ate together at the small dining table. Harmony sat in her high chair between them, making a mess with her food and making both adults laugh. The soup was delicious, and Amara realized she was actually hungry for the first time in days. "This is really good," she said. "Cooking relaxes me," Christopher admitted. "I'm not great at it, but I enjoy trying." They talked as they ate. Christopher told her about his business, how he'd started with one small apartment building and grown his company to develop properties across the city. He talked about his nonprofit foundation that helped low-income families find affordable housing. Amara told him about her life before Harmony. She'd been studying nursing before her parents died. After their deaths, she dropped out to work full-time. Then she'd met Jerome, Harmony's father, and thought she'd found love. When she got pregnant, he disappeared. "I spent the first few months of her life barely functioning," Amara admitted. "But then I looked at her little face and I knew I had to pull myself together. She needed me to be strong." "You are strong," Christopher said firmly. "Incredibly strong. But strength doesn't mean doing everything alone." After dinner, Christopher helped clean up. Then he said goodnight, reminding Amara to call him if she needed anything at all, any time of day or night. That night, after Harmony was asleep, Amara stood in her new bedroom. It had a real bed with a thick mattress, soft sheets, fluffy pillows, a window that looked out onto a garden. She climbed into bed and turned off the light. For the first time in years, she fell asleep without worrying about money or bills or how she'd make it through tomorrow. Over the next few weeks, Amara focused on healing. She took her medications. She rested when her body needed rest. She ate healthy meals. Nicole came every day to help with Harmony, and slowly but surely, Amara's strength returned. Christopher checked on them daily. Sometimes he'd bring dinner. Sometimes he'd play with Harmony while Amara took a nap. He never made her feel like a burden or like she owed him anything. One evening, about 3 weeks after moving in, Amara felt strong enough to cook. She made spaghetti and meatballs, nothing fancy but made with care. She texted Christopher, "Dinner's ready if you're hungry." He appeared 20 minutes later with a bottle of sparkling cider and a bouquet of daisies. "You didn't have to bring anything," Amara said, but she was smiling. "I wanted to," Christopher said. "Are those daisies okay?" The flower shop said they're cheerful. "They're perfect." They ate together, with Harmony in her high chair making a mess as usual. The conversation flowed easily. They talked about books, movies, childhood memories. Christopher told funny stories about his sister, who was a teacher in Portland. Amara talked about her parents, sharing happy memories that didn't hurt as much anymore. After dinner they moved to the living room. Harmony played on the floor with her blocks while Amara and Christopher sat on the couch, talking and laughing. "Can I ask you something?" Amara said during a quiet moment. "Anything. Why are you really doing all this? And please don't say it's just because of your mother. There's something more, isn't there?" Christopher was silent for a long moment. Finally he spoke. "I've spent the last 10 years building my business. Making money. Being successful. But I was lonely. I had everything I thought I wanted, but I wasn't happy. Then I moved into that apartment building to oversee the renovations, and I heard you and Harmony through the walls. I heard you singing to her at night. I heard you encouraging her as she learned to walk. I heard love. Real pure love. And I realized that's what I'd been missing. Not romantic love necessarily, just connection. Purpose. The chance to be part of something meaningful." "So we're your purpose?" Amara asked softly. "You're my reminder," Christopher corrected. "A reminder of what actually matters in life. You almost died working yourself to death for your daughter. That's sacrifice. That's love. I just have money. You have something much more valuable." Amara felt tears prick her eyes. "I'm starting to think we're both lucky. You saved my life, but maybe in a way we're saving yours too." Christopher smiled, a real smile that reached his eyes. "Maybe you are." Harmony toddled over to Christopher and climbed onto his lap. She snuggled against his chest and yawned. "Someone's sleepy," Amara said. "I can put her to bed if you want," Christopher offered. "Would you mind? I should do these dishes." "I don't mind at all." Amara watched as Christopher carried Harmony to the nursery. She heard him reading a bedtime story in a soft voice, then singing a lullaby. Her heart swelled with an emotion she wasn't quite ready to name. When Christopher came back out, Amara had finished the dishes. "She went down easy," he said. "She likes you," Amara said. "She doesn't warm up to most people that quickly. I like her too. She's an amazing kid." They stood in the kitchen, suddenly aware of how close they were standing. Christopher moved first, stepping back to give Amara space. "I should go," he said. "Let you rest." "Christopher," Amara said as he moved toward the door. "Thank you. For everything. I mean it." "You're welcome," he said. "Sleep well, Amara." After he left, Amara sat on the couch and let herself think about feelings she'd been trying to ignore. She was developing feelings for Christopher. Real feelings. But was it genuine attraction or just gratitude? He'd saved her life, given her a home, made her feel safe. Of course she felt something for him. But there were moments like tonight, when their eyes met and something sparked between them. Something that felt like more than gratitude. Amara shook her head. Was too soon. Too complicated. She needed to focus on getting better, on being a good mother, on figuring out her future. But as she got ready for bed that night, she couldn't stop thinking about Christopher's smile. The way he looked at her. The gentle way he held Harmony. Maybe, just maybe, there was room in her healing heart for something more than friendship. 6 weeks after her heart attack, Amara finally felt like herself again. Her energy had returned. Her doctor declared her recovery remarkable. The medications were working. She could play with Harmony without getting breathless. She could walk around the neighborhood. She felt alive again. Christopher had become a constant presence in their lives. He stopped by every evening, usually staying for dinner. Harmony ran to him the moment he arrived, calling him Kissa, her toddler attempt at Christopher. He didn't correct her, just scooped her up and spun her around, making her giggle. One Saturday morning, Christopher knocked on the door earlier than usual. Amara answered wearing comfortable green sweatpants and a yellow t-shirt, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. "Good morning," he said with a bright smile. "How do you two feel about an adventure today?" "What kind of adventure?" Amara asked, curious. "The zoo. It's supposed to be beautiful weather. Harmony's old enough to enjoy the animals now." Harmony, hearing her name, toddled over. "Go? Go." Amara laughed. "I think that's a yes. Let me get us ready." An hour later they were walking through the zoo gates. Harmony sat in her stroller, eyes wide with wonder at all the new sights and sounds. Christopher had packed a cooler with snacks and drinks. Amara wore comfortable clothes and felt genuinely excited. They started at the elephants. Harmony pointed and squealed. "Big. Big." "That's right, baby," Amara said. "Those are elephants. They're very big." Christopher read the information plaques out loud, and they watched the elephants play in the water. The joy on Harmony's face made everything feel magical. At the penguin exhibit, Harmony couldn't stop laughing at the birds waddling and diving. Christopher took photos with his phone, capturing moments of pure happiness. They ate lunch at a picnic area. Christopher had brought sandwiches, fruit, juice boxes for Harmony, and even a small chocolate cake. "You thought of everything," Amara said, impressed. "I wanted today to be special," Christopher replied. "You've been through so much. You deserve a fun, normal day." "This is more than normal," Amara said softly. "This is perfect." After lunch they visited the petting zoo. Harmony was nervous at first, but Christopher sat on the ground with her, showing her how to gently touch the goats. Soon she was giggling and trying to pet every animal she could reach. Amara watched Christopher with her daughter, and her heart ached in the best way. He was so patient, so kind. He genuinely cared about making Harmony happy. When was the last time anyone had cared like that? As they walked to the next exhibit, Harmony fell asleep in her stroller. Christopher and Amara continued walking, talking quietly. "Can I tell you something?" Christopher asked. "Of course." "I wasn't completely honest about why I moved into that apartment building." He paused. "Yes, I was overseeing renovations. But I could have hired someone to do that. The truth is I was feeling lost. My business was successful, but I felt disconnected from the people I was supposedly helping. Living in that building, hearing real families experiencing the struggles firsthand, that grounded me. And now?" Amara asked. "Now I feel more grounded than ever." Christopher stopped walking and turned to face her. "You and Harmony, you've reminded me what life is really about. Not profit margins or property values. Connection. Well, being there for each other." Amara's breath caught. The way he was looking at her, it was more than friendship. She saw it clearly now. "Christopher," she started, but he gently interrupted. "You don't have to say anything. I just wanted you to know what your presence in my life has meant." They continued walking, but something had shifted between them. An acknowledgement hung in the air. By the time they got home late afternoon, Harmony was tired but happy. Christopher helped carry her inside while Amara unlocked the door. "Thank you for today," Amara said as Christopher laid Harmony in her crib for a nap. "It was wonderful." "We should do it again," Christopher said. "Maybe the aquarium next time? Or the children's museum." "I'd like that." Christopher moved to leave, but Amara touched his arm. "Stay for dinner? I want to cook for you. Really cook, not just reheat something." "I'd love that." While Harmony napped, Amara prepared dinner. Christopher sat at the kitchen counter, chopping vegetables as she directed. They worked together easily, laughing and talking. The kitchen filled with the smell of garlic and herbs. "My mom taught me this recipe," Amara said, stirring the pot. It was her special occasion dish. "What's the occasion?" Christopher asked. Amara met his eyes. "Celebrating life, I guess. Being here. Being healthy. Having people who care." When Harmony woke up, they all ate together. The food was delicious. The conversation flowed. It felt like family. After dinner, they moved to the living room. Harmony played with her toys while the adults talked. Christopher told Amara about his nonprofit foundation, the families they'd helped, the communities they'd improved. "I want to show you something," he said suddenly. He pulled out his phone and showed her photos of a newly renovated apartment complex. "This is one of our projects. We took a rundown building and turned it into quality, affordable housing. 40 families live there now. It's beautiful," Amara said, scrolling through the photos. "I'm starting a new project next month," Christopher continued. "A community center in a low-income neighborhood. It'll have after-school programs, job training, health services. I'm really excited about it." "You're making such a difference," Amara said admiringly. "I'm trying," Christopher replied. "But I want to do more. I've been thinking about expanding the foundation, hiring more staff, reaching more people." "That sounds amazing." They talked late into the evening. Christopher shared his dreams and goals. Amara talked about her abandoned nursing career, how she'd always wanted to help people but life had taken her in a different direction. "It's not too late," Christopher said. "You could go back to school. Finish your degree. With a toddler and no job? I can't afford it." "What if you could?" Christopher asked carefully. "What if you didn't have to worry about money? Would you want to go back?" Amara thought about it. "Yes, I would. But that's not realistic right now." "Maybe it could be," Christopher said, but he didn't push further. When Harmony started rubbing her eyes, Amara knew it was bedtime. Christopher stood to leave. "Tonight was really nice," he said at the door. "It was," Amara agreed. "Christopher, can I ask you something personal?" "Always." "Are you lonely?" Living in that big house by yourself? Christopher considered the question. I was. For a long time. But lately less so. Having you and Harmony nearby, it's made my house feel more like a home. After he left, Amara got Harmony ready for bed. As she rocked her daughter to sleep, she thought about Christopher's words. She thought about the way he looked at her. The way her heart raced when he smiled. She was falling for him. There was no denying it anymore. But was it real? Or was it just because he'd saved her? Because he'd been so kind? Over the next few weeks, Christopher's visits became routine. He came every evening. Sometimes they'd watch movies together after Harmony was in bed. Sometimes they'd sit on the porch and talk under the stars. Sometimes they'd take walks around the neighborhood, Christopher pushing Harmony's stroller. One evening, Christopher brought pizza and a board game. They played while Harmony colored at the table. It was comfortable, easy, natural. I have something to tell you, Christopher said as they were cleaning up. Amara's heart raced. What is it? I have a business proposition, he said. One of my hotel properties needs a new manager. The previous one just retired. It's good pay, full benefits, reasonable hours. I think you'd be perfect for it. Amara stared at him. You want to hire me? I want to offer you an opportunity, Christopher clarified. You've worked in hotels before. You know the industry. You're great with people. The job is yours if you want it. Christopher, I can't just take a job because you're offering it. What about all the other applicants? What about? I've interviewed 12 people for this position, Christopher interrupted. None of them were right. You're right. I know you are. This isn't charity, Amara. This is good business. Amara felt tears in her eyes. A real job. With benefits. With normal hours so she could spend time with Harmony. What's the pay? She asked carefully. Christopher named a figure that made her jaw drop. It was 3 times what she'd been making before. That's too much, she protested. That's the market rate for that position, Christopher said firmly. I can show you salary surveys if you don't believe me. This is a legitimate offer, Amara. Will you accept it? Amara thought about refusing. About pride. About independence. But then she thought about Harmony. About being able to provide for her daughter properly. About having a career instead of just jobs. Yes, she said, her voice strong. I accept. With gratitude. Thank you. Christopher's smile could have lit up the whole room. You start in 2 weeks. That'll give you time to get everything arranged with Nicole for childcare during your work hours. They spent the rest of the evening talking about the position, the hotel, what Amara's responsibilities would be. She felt excited for the first time in years. This was an opportunity to use her skills, to grow professionally, to build something. As Christopher was leaving that night, he paused at the door. Amara, there's something else I need to say. What is it? I care about you. More than I probably should. More than just friendship. I need you to know that. But I also need you to know that the job offer isn't contingent on anything. If you don't feel the same way, it doesn't change anything. The job is yours regardless. Amara's heart pounded. This was the moment. Be honest or play it safe. I care about you too, she whispered. I've been trying not to. Trying to convince myself it's just gratitude. But it's more than that. Christopher stepped closer. Can I kiss you? Yes. The kiss was gentle, sweet, full of promise. When they pulled apart, both were smiling. Wow, Amara said. Yeah, Christopher agreed. Wow. What do we do now? Amara asked. We take it slow, Christopher said. We see where this goes. No pressure. No expectations. Just us figuring it out together. I'd like that, Amara said. After Christopher left, Amara checked on Harmony, who was sleeping peacefully. She touched her own lips, still feeling the kiss. Her life had changed so dramatically in just 2 months. From dying on her apartment floor to falling in love in a guest house she never could have afforded. Felt like a dream. But it was real. It was her life now. And she was so grateful for every single moment. 2 weeks later, Amara started her new job as manager of the Riverside Heights Hotel. Ironically, it was a sister property to the hotel where she'd worked as a front desk clerk. But now, instead of standing behind the counter, she had her own office, a team to lead, and actual authority. Her first day was nerve-wracking. She wore a professional blue dress that Christopher had helped her pick out during a shopping trip. Nicole was watching Harmony, and Christopher had texted her good luck that morning with a string of encouraging words. The hotel staff was welcoming. Most were surprised by how young she was, but Amara quickly proved herself capable. She'd worked in hotels long enough to know every aspect of operations. She knew how to handle difficult guests, manage housekeeping schedules, solve maintenance issues, and keep the front desk running smoothly. By the end of her first week, she'd implemented 3 new procedures that improved efficiency. Her staff respected her because she worked alongside them, never asking anyone to do something she wouldn't do herself. The hotel owner, Christopher's business partner Jennifer, stopped by at the end of the first week. "Christopher said you'd be good," Jennifer told Amara. "But you're better than good. You're exactly what this property needed. The staff likes you. The guest satisfaction scores are already improving. Whatever Christopher is paying you, it's not enough." Amara beamed with pride. She was succeeding on her own merit. That evening, Christopher came over for dinner as usual. Harmony ran to him the moment he walked in. "Kissa. Kissa," she squealed. He picked her up and spun her around. "How's my favorite girl?" "Good." Amara watched from the kitchen, smiling. Over the past 2 weeks, their relationship had developed slowly. They'd shared more kisses. They held hands during walks. They talked about everything. But they were taking it slow, making sure it was real. "How was your first week?" Christopher asked, setting Harmony down and coming to help Amara in the kitchen. "Amazing," Amara said honestly. "I love it. Really love it. I feel like I'm using my brain again. Making decisions. Helping people. It's so fulfilling." "I knew you'd be great," Christopher said, kissing her cheek. They made dinner together, spaghetti and meatballs. Harmony helped by attempting to stir the sauce, which mostly resulted in sauce on her face. After dinner, Christopher pulled out a wrapped box. "I got you something. To celebrate your first week." "You didn't have to do that," Amara protested, but she was smiling. Inside the box was a beautiful leather portfolio with her initials embossed on it. "For all your important hotel manager documents," Christopher explained. "It's perfect," Amara said, running her fingers over the smooth leather. "Thank you." That night, after Harmony was asleep, Christopher and Amara sat on the porch swing, wrapped in a blanket against the cool evening air. "I want to tell you something," Christopher said. "About my past." "Okay," Amara said, sensing this was important. "I was married before. 4 years ago." Amara hadn't expected that. "What happened?" "Her name was Taylor. We met in college, married young. But we wanted different things. She wanted the society life, fancy parties, status. I wanted to build something meaningful. We grew apart. The divorce was amicable, but it hurt. I threw myself into work after that. Didn't date. Didn't really connect with anyone. Until now." Amara asked softly. "Until now," Christopher confirmed. "You're different from anyone I've ever known. You're real. Genuine. You know what matters in life." "I'm also a broke single mother living in your guest house," Amara said with a self-deprecating laugh. "You're a strong, intelligent, beautiful woman who nearly sacrificed her life for her daughter," Christopher corrected. "You're a survivor. And I'm falling in love with you." Amara's breath caught. "Love," he said. "Love." "I'm falling in love with you too," she whispered. "It scares me. Everything happens so fast. Sometimes I wonder if it's real or if I'm just grateful." "It's real," Christopher said firmly. "I've never felt this way before. Not even with my ex-wife. What I feel for you, it's different. Deeper." They kissed under the stars, and Amara felt her heart open completely. Over the next few weeks, their relationship deepened. Christopher was there for every milestone. When Harmony took her first steps without holding on to anything, Christopher was there, cheering and recording it on his phone. When Amara received her first paycheck and cried happy tears, Christopher was there, holding her and celebrating with her. One Sunday afternoon, Christopher invited Amara and Harmony to his main house for the first time. Amara had never actually been inside, always staying in the guest house. The house was beautiful but surprisingly cozy. Yes, it was large and expensive, but it was also comfortable. Family photos on the walls. Books on shelves. Lived-in furniture. "Welcome to my home," Christopher said with a sweeping gesture. Harmony immediately toddled toward the large windows overlooking the backyard. "Pretty," she exclaimed. Christopher showed them around. The kitchen was massive. The living room had comfortable couches and a fireplace. Upstairs were 4 bedrooms, each beautifully decorated. "It's too big for one person," Christopher admitted. "I always thought I'd fill it with a family someday. Just hasn't happened yet." "Yet?" Amara questioned. Christopher smiled. "I'm hopeful about the future." They spent the afternoon together. Christopher cooked lunch while Amara played with Harmony in the backyard. The yard had a swing set which delighted Harmony to no end. After lunch, Harmony fell asleep on the couch. Christopher and Amara sat together, talking quietly so they wouldn't wake her. "I've been thinking," Christopher said. "About the future." "What about it?" "I want you to be in mine. Officially. Not just as my girlfriend, though I love that too. I mean really in my life. You and Harmony both." Amara's heart raced. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want this to be your home. Not the guest house. This house. I want us to be a family." Tears filled Amara's eyes. "Christopher, that's a huge step." "I know. And I'm not pressuring you. Take all the time you need to think about it. I just wanted you to know where my heart is. I love you. I love Harmony. I want to wake up every morning and see you both. I want to be there for first words and first days of school and everything in between." "What about my independence?" Amara asked. "I don't want to be dependent on you." "You're not dependent," Christopher said firmly. "You have a job. You're earning your own money. You could get your own place if you wanted to. But I'm asking you, please don't. Stay with me. Build a life with me. Let me be Harmony's father figure if you'll allow it." Amara thought about everything that had happened. How Christopher had saved her life. How he'd given without expecting anything in return. How he'd supported her getting back on her feet. How gentle he was with Harmony. How he made her laugh. How safe she felt with him. "I need time," she said honestly. "Not because I don't love you. I do. But because I need to make sure I'm making this decision for the right reasons. I need to know I'm choosing this because it's what I want, not just because it's easy or comfortable." "Take all the time you need," Christopher said, kissing her forehead. "I'm not going anywhere." That evening, as Amara put Harmony to bed in the guest house, she thought about Christopher's offer. Moving into his house. Becoming a real family. It was everything she'd ever dreamed of but never thought she'd have. But was she ready? Was it too soon? She thought about her ex, Jerome. How she'd rushed into that relationship because she was lonely. How she'd ignored red flags because she wanted to believe in love. She couldn't make that mistake again. But Christopher wasn't Jerome. Christopher had proven himself over and over. He was kind, patient, generous. He loved Harmony. He respected Amara's independence. He wasn't trying to control or change her. Still, she needed to be sure. For Harmony's sake as much as her own. Over the next few days, Amara paid close attention to everything. How Christopher interacted with Harmony. How he treated his employees. How he talked about the future. She was looking for any sign of trouble, any red flag. She found none. Instead, she found more reasons to love him. He was genuine. He donated anonymously to charities. He treated everyone with respect, from the CEO of a company to the person who cleaned his office. He was humble despite his success. 1 week after his proposal to move in together, Amara made her decision. She invited Christopher to dinner and waited until after Harmony was asleep to talk. "I have an answer," she said, her heart pounding. Christopher set down his coffee cup. "Okay. I want to move in with you. I want us to be a family. I love you and I trust you. But I have conditions." "Name them," Christopher said immediately. "I keep working. I keep my independence. I contribute to household expenses from my salary. I'm not a kept woman. I'm your partner." "Agreed," Christopher said. "And if this doesn't work out, if we realize we made a mistake, you don't kick us out. You give us time to find another place." "It's going to work out," Christopher said confidently. "But yes, I agree to that too. Anything else?" "Just one more thing. We tell Harmony together. She needs to understand that you're choosing to be in her life, not just mine." "I'd love that," Christopher said, his eyes shining with emotion. They sealed the agreement with a kiss, both feeling the weight and joy of the commitment they were making. The next morning, they sat Harmony down in the living room of the guest house. Well, sat is an overstatement. She was toddling around playing with blocks. But they talked to her anyway. "Harmony, sweetie," Amara said. "Mama has something to tell you." "What, Mama?" "We're going to move to Kiss's house. The big house. We're all going to live together. What do you think?" "Kiss a house." Harmony's face lit up. "Big house." "Yes, baby. Big house." Harmony clapped her hands. "Yay." Then she toddled over to Christopher and climbed into his lap. "Dada." Amara and Christopher looked at each other in shock. Harmony had never called him that before. "If that's okay with Mama," Christopher said carefully, looking at Amara. Amara felt tears running down her face. Happy tears. "Yes, baby. Dada." "If Christopher wants to be your dada." "I want nothing more," Christopher said, his own voice thick with emotion. He wrapped his arms around Harmony. "Yes, sweetheart. I'll be your dada." Harmony smiled and snuggled into his chest, content and secure. And just like that, they became a family. What do you think will happen when they become a real family? Will everything stay perfect or will challenges arise? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and don't forget to subscribe to see how this beautiful love story unfolds. We promise it gets even better. Moving day came 3 weeks later. Nicole helped pack up the guest house while Christopher supervised the actual moving, which consisted of bringing Amara and Harmony's things up to the main house. It wasn't much, just clothes, toys, and a few personal items. Everything else they needed was already in Christopher's house. Christopher had transformed one of the upstairs bedrooms into a perfect room for Harmony. Pink and purple walls, a toddler bed shaped like a castle, toys organized in colorful bins, and a rocking chair by the window where Amara could read bedtime stories. Amara's things went into Christopher's master bedroom. The first time she hung her clothes in his closet, she felt a mix of excitement and nervousness. This was real. They were really doing this. That first night in the house, they established bedtime routines. Amara gave Harmony a bath in the big bathroom. Christopher read her 3 bedtime stories. They sang lullabies together until Harmony's eyes closed. "Good night, sweet girl," Christopher whispered, kissing her forehead. "Night-night, Dada," Harmony mumbled, already half asleep. Christopher and Amara stood in the doorway of Harmony's room, watching her sleep. "She's really calling me Dada now," Christopher said quietly, awe in his voice. "She loves you," Amara said simply. They went to their shared bedroom and for the first time, they'd be sleeping in the same bed. It felt monumental and somehow completely natural at the same time. "Thank you," Amara said as they got ready for bed. "For what?" "For loving us. For choosing us. For making my daughter feel safe and loved." "I'm the one who should be thanking you," Christopher said. "You've given my life meaning, purpose, joy. I was existing before. Now I'm living." They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, both feeling grateful for the second chance at happiness. The next few weeks were an adjustment. Learning to live together, figuring out each other's habits and rhythms. Christopher was an early riser. Amara liked to sleep in when possible. Christopher was neat and organized. Amara was a little messier. But they compromised, communicated, and made it work. Amara continued working at the hotel and she loved it more each day. She'd implemented a new customer service training program that had increased guest satisfaction scores by 15%. She'd reorganized the housekeeping schedule to improve efficiency. She'd started a team-building program that boosted employee morale. Jennifer, Christopher's business partner, visited regularly and was consistently impressed. "You have a real talent for this," Jennifer told Amara one afternoon. "Have you ever thought about hospitality management as a long-term career? There's real advancement potential here." "I have thought about it," Amara admitted. "But I never finished college. I was studying nursing before life got in the way." "You could go back," Jennifer suggested. "Get a degree in hospitality management. We'd work around your schedule." Christopher mentioned he'd support it too. That evening, Amara brought it up with Christopher over dinner. Harmony was in her high chair, eating pasta with her hands and making a mess. "Jennifer mentioned going back to school," Amara said. "What do you think?" "I think it's a great idea," Christopher said immediately. "You're clearly passionate about hotel management. A degree would open even more doors for you. But with Harmony and my job, when would I have time?" "We'd make time. Nicole could watch Harmony during evening classes. Or I could. We'd figure it out together." Amara considered it. "It would take years to finish. So, you'll be years older anyway." "Might as well be years older with a degree." Amara laughed. "That's surprisingly wise." "I have my moments," Christopher said with a grin. Over the next few months, Amara researched programs and applied to the local university's hospitality management degree program. She was accepted and registered for 2 evening classes to start. The first night of class, Amara was nervous. Christopher made her favorite dinner before she left, and Harmony gave her sticky goodbye kisses. "You've got this," Christopher encouraged. "You're going to be amazing." The classes were challenging but invigorating. Amara's real-world experience gave her an edge over the younger students who'd never actually worked in a hotel. She contributed to class discussions with practical examples. Her professors were impressed. Balancing work, school, and motherhood was exhausting, but Amara had support now. Nicole helped with childcare. Christopher took over bedtime routines on class nights. Jennifer was flexible with Amara's work schedule. It was hard but doable. One evening, about 4 months after they'd moved in together, Christopher suggested they take a family trip. "Just a weekend," he said. "Somewhere fun for all of us." They chose a beach town 3 hours away. Christopher booked a family suite at a resort hotel. Amara was excited to get away even just for a few days. The drive was filled with singing along to children's songs. Harmony loved looking out the window at passing cars and trucks. Big truck. Mama, big truck. The resort was beautiful. Their suite had a separate bedroom for Harmony and a balcony overlooking the ocean. Harmony was mesmerized by the waves. That weekend was magical. They built sandcastles on the beach. Harmony played in the shallow water, squealing with delight every time a wave rolled in. They ate ice cream and walked along the boardwalk. Christopher carried Harmony on his shoulders when she got tired. On their last evening after Harmony was asleep, Christopher and Amara sat on the balcony watching the sunset. "Can I tell you something?" Amara asked. "Always. I never thought I'd have this. A partner who truly loves and supports me. A man who loves my daughter as his own. Financial security. Happiness. It feels like a dream sometimes." "It's not a dream," Christopher said, taking her hand. "It's your life. Our life. And we're building it together. Sometimes I'm scared it'll disappear. That something will go wrong." "Life doesn't come with guarantees," Christopher said honestly. "But I can promise you this. I'm in this for the long haul. Whatever challenges come, we'll face them together. I'm not going anywhere." Amara leaned her head on his shoulder. "I love you. I love you too. So much." When they returned home, life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Amara worked, attended classes and spent time with Harmony. Christopher managed his business and made time for family dinners every evening. Nicole continued helping with childcare. They were a team. But then something unexpected happened. Amara was at work when her phone rang. An unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. "Hello? Amara? It's Jerome." Her blood ran cold. Jerome. Harmony's biological father. The man who'd abandoned them. "What do you want?" she asked, her voice icy. "I heard through some friends that you're doing well. Living in a nice place. I was thinking maybe we could talk. About Harmony. About me being in her life." Amara's hand shook. "You left. Before she was even born. You have no right to her life. I'm her father. I have rights." "You gave up those rights when you walked away," Amara said firmly. But inside she was terrified. Did he have legal rights? Could he actually take Harmony from her? "I've changed," Jerome said. "I want to be a dad now. I think we should meet and discuss this." "No," Amara said. "Don't call me again." She hung up and immediately called Christopher. He answered on the first ring. "What's wrong?" "I can hear it in your voice." Jerome called. "He wants to be part of Harmony's life." "Christopher, what if he has legal rights? What if he can take her from me?" "He can't take her," Christopher said firmly. "But we need to be smart about this. I'll call my attorney right now. We'll figure this out." That evening, Christopher's attorney came to the house. His name was Frank Morrison and he specialized in family law. "Tell me everything," Frank said, pulling out a legal pad. Amara explained the situation. How Jerome had left. How he'd never provided support. How he'd never even met Harmony. "Did he sign the birth certificate?" Frank asked. "No. He was already gone by the time she was born." "That's good." Without his name on the birth certificate and without an established paternity through the courts, his legal standing is weak. But he could file for paternity testing and custody rights. Amara felt sick. "What do I do?" "First, don't engage with him directly. All communication should go through me. Second, document everything. Every call, every text, everything. Third, we prepare a defense if he does file legal action." "What kind of defense?" Christopher asked. "We show abandonment. We show that Harmony has a stable home with a father figure who's been present and providing." Frank looked at Christopher. "That would be you, I assume?" "Yes," Christopher said without hesitation. "I want to be her legal father. Whatever that takes." Frank nodded. "We might be able to pursue termination of parental rights for abandonment and then step-parent adoption. But we'd need to be married for that." The room went silent. Marriage. They'd been together less than a year. But they'd also been living together, functioning as a family unit. "We'll figure this out," Christopher said, squeezing Amara's hand. "One step at a time." Over the next week, Jerome called twice more. Each time Amara didn't answer. He sent text too. "I just want to meet my daughter. I have rights. We can do this easy or hard." The texts felt threatening and Amara forwarded them all to Frank. "He's trying to intimidate you," Frank said. "Don't let him. We're building a solid case." Christopher was a rock throughout everything. He took on more of the household responsibilities so Amara could focus on work and dealing with the Jerome situation. He reassured Harmony when she sensed her mother's stress. He was exactly the partner Amara needed. 2 weeks after Jerome's first call, Frank received official notice that Jerome was filing for paternity testing and potential custody rights. "He's serious," Frank told them. "We need to prepare for a potential court battle. Whatever it takes," Amara said. "He's not taking my daughter." "Our daughter," Christopher corrected gently. "We're in this together." That night, after Harmony was asleep, Christopher and Amara talked about their options. "Frank suggested marriage," Christopher said carefully. "I know that's not the most romantic way to bring it up. But, Amara, I want to marry you anyway. Not because of Jerome. Not because of legal strategy. But because I love you and I want you to be my wife." Amara looked at this man who'd saved her life, who'd given her and her daughter everything, who'd loved them unconditionally. "I want to marry you too," she said. "But I want it to be about us, not about Jerome. Not about legal proceedings." "Then let's get married for us," Christopher said. "Let's do it soon while we're fighting this battle so Harmony can see us united. So we can face this as a married couple. But the marriage is about our love, not about him." "Okay," Amara said, tears in her eyes. "Let's get married." Christopher smiled and pulled her close. "I don't have a ring yet. I wanted to do this properly with a proposal and everything." "We're beyond traditional at this point," Amara said with a laugh. "But I wouldn't say no to a ring eventually." They kissed, sealing their commitment to each other and their family. The next day they told Frank their decision. He was pleased from a legal standpoint but reminded them that the marriage needed to be genuine, not just a legal maneuver. "It is genuine," Christopher assured him. "I've been planning to propose anyway. This just moved up the timeline." Planning a wedding while dealing with legal proceedings was stressful, but Amara and Christopher were determined to make it special. They decided on a small ceremony at Christopher's house, just close friends and family. Christopher's sister flew in from Portland. Amara's aunt agreed to come from Ohio, their first contact in years. Nicole would be there, of course. Jennifer and a few close friends from Christopher's business. That was it. Small, intimate, meaningful. 3 weeks later, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon, Amara and Christopher got married in the backyard of their home. Amara wore a simple but elegant white dress. Christopher wore a dark blue suit. Harmony wore a purple dress and carried a basket of flower petals, though she mostly ate them instead of throwing them. When they exchanged vows, both cried. They promised to love, support, and cherish each other. They promised to be partners in every sense. They promised to be the family they'd chosen to become. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant said. "You may kiss your bride." Christopher kissed Amara as their small group of loved ones cheered. Harmony toddled over and hugged both of their legs. "Mama. Dada." They picked her up together, holding her between them. The photo someone snapped at that moment captured pure joy. The reception was casual and fun. They ate catered food, cut a simple but delicious cake, and danced in the backyard. Harmony danced with Christopher, standing on his feet as he swayed to the music. That night, after all the guests had left and Harmony was asleep, Amara and Christopher sat on their bed, still in their wedding clothes. "We're married," Amara said, looking at the ring on her finger. Christopher had surprised her with a beautiful diamond ring that morning. "We're married," Christopher confirmed. "How does it feel?" "Right," Amara said simply. "It feels right." They'd gotten married partly because of the situation with Jerome, but their love was real. Their commitment was real. They were building a life together, facing challenges as a team, and creating a family based on love and choice. Whatever happened with the legal situation, they would face it together. As husband and wife. As partners. As a family. And that gave them strength for whatever was to come. The legal proceedings with Jerome began a month after the wedding. Frank filed all the necessary paperwork presenting Amara and Christopher's case. Jerome had his own attorney now and things were getting serious. "We have a preliminary hearing in 2 weeks, Frank informed them during a meeting at their house. Jerome's attorney is arguing that he has a right to establish paternity and seek custody. Can they actually win? Amara asked, her anxiety clear. It's complicated, Frank admitted. Jerome does have biological rights. However, his abandonment, his lack of financial support, and the fact that Harmony has a stable home with 2 parents who love her, that all works in our favor. The court's priority is always what's best for the child. What do we need to do? Christopher asked, his hand tight around Amara's. Document everything. Harmony's medical records showing Christopher has been listed as her father figure at appointments. Photos showing family life. Testimony from Nicole about Christopher's involvement in parenting. Character witnesses. We build a case showing that Jerome's sudden interest is not in Harmony's best interest. Over the next 2 weeks they prepared. Christopher had been attending Harmony's doctor appointments since they'd moved in together. He'd been there for her vaccinations, her wellness checks, everything. The medical records showed his consistent presence. They gathered photos. Hundreds of photos of Christopher and Harmony together. Playing at the park. Reading bedtime stories. Making breakfast. Bath time. All the small moments that showed real fatherhood. Nicole provided a written statement detailing Christopher's daily involvement with Harmony. He is in every way that matters her father, Nicole wrote. Jennifer provided a character reference for both Amara and Christopher, noting their stability and commitment to family. The day of the preliminary hearing arrived. Amara dressed in a professional maroon dress. Christopher wore a dark gray suit. They left Harmony with Nicole, not wanting her anywhere near the courthouse. Frank met them outside the courtroom. Remember, this is just preliminary. The judge is determining if there's enough for a full custody hearing. Stay calm. Be honest. Let me do most of the talking. Jerome was already inside with his attorney. Amara saw him for the first time in almost 3 years and she felt nothing but anger. He looked good. Well-dressed. Confident. Like he hadn't abandoned his pregnant girlfriend and never looked back. His eyes met hers across the courtroom. He had the audacity to smile. The judge entered and everyone stood. Judge Patricia Martinez was middle-aged with kind but sharp eyes. She reviewed the preliminary filings from both sides. Mr. Walker, she addressed Jerome's attorney. Your client is seeking paternity testing and potential custody rights for a child he has never met. Explain. Jerome's attorney stood. Your Honor, my client made a mistake 3 years ago. He was young, scared, and not ready for fatherhood. But he's turned his life around. He has a stable job, a place to live, and a genuine desire to be part of his daughter's life. Ms. Johnson-Bennett, Judge Martinez addressed Amara using her married name. Your attorney argues that Mr. Walker abandoned you and has no right to suddenly claim paternity. Is that correct? Amara stood. Yes, Your Honor. Jerome left before our daughter was born. He's never met her, never called to check on her, never sent a single dollar of support. Now suddenly he wants to be a father? That's not real interest in Harmony. That's something else. What do you think it is? The judge asked. Amara hesitated, then said honestly, I think he heard I'm doing well now. That I married someone financially stable. I think he sees an opportunity. Jerome's attorney objected, but the judge held up her hand. I'm going to allow some candor here. Mr. Walker, why now? Why after 3 years do you suddenly want to be a father? Jerome stood. He looked sincere, but Amara knew it was an act. Your Honor, I regret leaving. Every day I regret it. But I was a mess back then. No job, no future. I didn't think I could be a good father. So I walked away. But I've spent these 3 years getting my life together. I have a good job now. I'm stable. And I want to make up for lost time. Don't I deserve that chance? Children aren't about what adults deserve, Judge Martinez said sharply. They're about what's best for the child. Mr. Bennett, she looked at Christopher. You've been acting as this child's father for how long? Christopher stood. Almost a year, Your Honor. I've been there for every milestone. First steps, first words, every day of her life during that time. I love her as if she were my own biological child. And if paternity testing proves Mr. Walker is the biological father, what then? It doesn't change anything for me, Christopher said firmly. Biology doesn't make a father. Love does. Showing up does. I'm her father in every way that matters. Judge Martinez reviewed more paperwork silently. The courtroom was tense. Finally she spoke. I'm ordering paternity testing. That's non-negotiable. We need to establish biological facts. However, I'm not granting any custody or visitation rights at this time. If Mr. Walker is proven to be the biological father, we'll proceed to a full hearing where I'll determine what, if any, rights he should have. This case is complicated by abandonment, but also by Mr. Walker's legal rights as a potential biological parent. Jerome's attorney looked pleased. Frank looked concerned but not defeated. The testing will be scheduled within 2 weeks, the judge continued. After results are back, we'll reconvene. Until then, the child remains in the custody of her mother and stepfather. Mr. Walker, you are not to contact the family directly. All communication goes through attorneys. Understood. Yes, Your Honor, Jerome said. They left the courthouse and Amara felt sick. He's going to be proven as her biological father. We all know that. Then what? Then we fight, Christopher said. We show the judge that Harmony has a real father. Meh. And that Jerome showing up now isn't in her best interest. Frank agreed. The judge was fair. She's ordering the test because legally she has to. But her comments about abandonment and what's best for the child, those are good for us. She's not automatically siding with biological rights. The paternity test was conducted a week later at a medical facility. A simple cheek swab for Jerome and for Harmony. Amara held her daughter during the process, and Harmony cried at the strange procedure. Christopher comforted them both afterward. Results would take 2 to 3 weeks. The waiting was agonizing. During that time, Jerome's attorney sent a settlement proposal. My client is willing to settle for regular visitation and shared custody, the letter read. In exchange, he'll drop any claims for back support or other financial compensation. He wants money, Amara said, reading the letter. That's what this is really about. He heard I married someone with money and he wants a piece of it. Frank looked at the letter carefully. He's definitely angling for something. The mention of not seeking financial compensation is interesting. It implies he might be willing to negotiate. I'm not negotiating my daughter, Amara said firmly. We won't have to, Christopher said. There's another option. We can offer him a settlement. A one-time payment in exchange for terminating his parental rights completely. You mean pay him to go away? Amara asked. If that's what it takes, Christopher said. I know it feels wrong. But if it means Jerome is out of our lives forever and I can legally adopt Harmony, isn't it worth it? Amara thought about it. Her pride said no. But her practical side, her mother's heart, said yes. If money could make Jerome disappear forever, wasn't that the best outcome? How much, she asked Frank. For a complete termination of rights? Probably between $50,000 and $100,000. It's essentially buying out his claim. Do it, Christopher said. Offer him $75,000. Full termination of parental rights. He never contacts Harmony. He signs away everything. And we never hear from him again. Frank contacted Jerome's attorney with the offer. The response came back within 2 days. My client will accept $100,000. He's negotiating, Frank said. That's actually good news. It means he's willing to take the deal. Give him the $100,000, Christopher said. Just make it happen. Amara squeezed his hand. That's a lot of money. It's worth it, Christopher said firmly. Every penny is worth it if it means our family is protected and I can officially become Harmony's father. The negotiations took another week. Finally, an agreement was reached. $100,000 in exchange for complete termination of parental rights. Jerome would sign all necessary documents. He would never contact Harmony or attempt to establish any relationship. Christopher would then be free to pursue step-parent adoption. When the paternity test results came back positive, confirming Jerome as Harmony's biological father, it didn't matter anymore. The agreement was already in place. At the final hearing, Jerome signed the termination papers. Judge Martinez reviewed everything carefully. Mr. Walker, you understand that by signing these documents, you are permanently giving up all parental rights to this child? You will have no custody, no visitation, no say in her life whatsoever. This decision is permanent. I understand, Your Honor, Jerome said. And you're doing this voluntarily? Yes. Mr. Bennett, you understand that after this termination and a brief waiting period, you'll be able to file for step-parent adoption? Yes, Your Honor, Christopher said. That's exactly what I intend to do. Judge Martinez signed the orders. The termination is granted. Mr. Walker, you are no longer the legal father of this child. Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, you may proceed with adoption proceedings after the mandatory 30-day waiting period. It was over. Jerome was out of their lives forever. Christopher would become Harmony's legal father in just 1 month. As they left the courthouse, Amara felt lighter than she had in weeks. We did it. It's really over. It's over, Christopher confirmed. And in 30 days I officially become Harmony's dad. They picked up Harmony from Nicole's house and went home. That night, they celebrated with Harmony's favorite dinner and a special dessert. Harmony didn't understand what they were celebrating, but she was happy because her parents were happy. After Harmony was in bed, Christopher and Amara sat on the couch together, exhausted but relieved. Thank you for being willing to pay him, Amara said. I know that was a lot of money. It was worth every cent, Christopher said. Now Harmony is really ours. Legally, officially, completely ours. When should we tell her? Amara asked. When she's older, I mean. About Jerome. We'll tell her the truth when she's old enough to understand, Christopher said. That her biological father wasn't able to be her dad, so I got to be. And that I consider it the greatest privilege of my life. Amara laid her head on his shoulder. She's so lucky to have you. I'm the lucky one, Christopher said. I got a family I didn't think I'd ever have. I got you. I got Harmony. I got everything I ever wanted. They sat in comfortable silence, grateful for how everything had worked out. The Jerome situation had been stressful, but it had also proven how strong their family was. They'd faced it together and come out stronger. In 30 days, Christopher would officially adopt Harmony. She'd be Harmony Bennett, legally and permanently his daughter. And their family would be complete. The 30-day waiting period before Christopher could file for adoption felt longer than the entire legal battle with Jerome. Amara and Christopher spent that time imagining the future, planning Harmony's adoption day celebration, and just being together as a family. Amara was thriving at work. She'd been promoted to regional manager, overseeing 3 hotel properties instead of just one. The promotion came with a substantial raise, which made her feel even more independent and proud. Christopher celebrated with her, never once showing any jealousy that she was advancing in her career. You earned this, he told her the night she got the promotion. Your talent, your hard work. I'm so proud of you. School was going well too. Amara maintained a 3.8 GPA while working full-time and being a mother. It was exhausting, but she'd never felt more fulfilled. One evening, Christopher came home from work looking excited. I have news, he announced. Amara looked up from where she was helping Harmony stack blocks. Good news or bad news? Good news. Great news, actually. The community center project is finished. We're having a grand opening next month. And I want you and Harmony there with me. Of course we'll be there, Amara said. There's more, Christopher continued. I've been thinking about expanding the foundation, creating more programs helping more families. And I was hoping you'd want to be part of it. Not as a volunteer, as a board member. Helping make decisions about how we use our resources. Amara was stunned. Me? On the board? You understand what struggling families need better than anyone, Christopher said. You've lived it. Your perspective would be invaluable. I don't know anything about running a nonprofit. You'll learn. Just like you learned hotel management. Just like you're learning everything at school. You're brilliant, Amara. I want you involved in this work because you'd make a real difference. Amara thought about it. Being part of something that helped families like hers that was meaningful. That was important work. Okay, she said. I'll do it. Christopher's smile lit up the room. Really? Really? With one condition. You don't give me special treatment because I'm your wife. I earn my place on that board. Deal? Christopher said, kissing her. The adoption paperwork was filed exactly 30 days after Jerome's rights were terminated. Frank handled everything. They had to do a home study, which was basically a formality since Harmony had been living with them for months. A social worker came to their house, interviewed them separately and together, observed Christopher with Harmony, and wrote a glowing report. This is one of the most loving, stable homes I've ever evaluated, the social worker told them. Your adoption will be approved without question. The court date for the adoption was set for 3 months out. It felt like forever, but they used the time to prepare for a celebration. Christopher's sister started planning a party. This is huge, she said. We're celebrating officially making Harmony a Bennett. They invited everyone who'd been part of their journey. Nicole, Jennifer, Frank, the social worker, friends from Christopher's business, colleagues from Amara's hotels, and even some families from the nonprofit foundation who'd supported them during the Jerome situation. But first, they had the community center grand opening to attend. The center was located in Amara's old neighborhood, not far from where she'd lived before her heart attack. Seeing the area again brought back memories, but they didn't hurt as much as she'd expected. She'd grown so much since then. The center was beautiful. Modern, clean, welcoming. It had computer labs, meeting rooms, a gym, a kitchen for cooking classes, and space for after-school programs. At the opening ceremony, Christopher gave a speech. Amara stood beside him with Harmony in her arms. This center represents something important, Christopher said to the gathered crowd. It represents hope. It represents community. It represents the belief that everyone deserves opportunities. Everyone deserves support. Everyone deserves a chance to build a better life. Amara watched her husband speak with such passion and conviction. Harmony was getting heavy in her arms, so she shifted the toddler to her other hip. Harmony was wearing a bright red dress that Nicole had picked out that morning, and she looked adorable. I grew up in a neighborhood like this one, Christopher continued. My mother worked 3 jobs to keep food on our table. I know what struggle looks like. I know what it means to need help and be too proud to ask for it. That's why this center is designed to offer support without shame, job training without judgment, education without barriers, healthcare assistance without bureaucracy. The crowd applauded. Many of them were families from the neighborhood who would benefit from the center's programs. After the speech, people came up to thank Christopher and tour the facility. A young mother approached Amara, recognizing her from the old apartment building. "You're Amara, right?" the woman said. "You used to live in Unit 304? "Yes," Amara confirmed. "I'm sorry, I don't remember your name." "Keisha," the woman said, then quickly corrected herself. "Actually, it's Tanya. I lived on the 2nd floor with my 2 kids. I heard what happened to you. The heart attack. I'm glad you're okay." Amara smiled warmly. "Thank you. It was a scary time, but I'm much better now." Tanya looked around the community center with appreciation in her eyes. "This place is going to change lives. Your husband, he really cares about people like us." "He does," Amara agreed. "And I do too. I haven't forgotten where I came from." They talked for a few more minutes, and Amara made sure Tanya knew about all the programs available. Job placement assistance, free childcare during classes, medical referrals, everything the center offered. As the event wound down, Christopher found Amara and Harmony. "Ready to go home?" "Actually," Amara said, "can we drive by the old apartment building? I want to see it." Christopher looked surprised but nodded. "Of course." They drove through the familiar streets. Amara pointed out landmarks to Harmony, who was too young to understand but seemed interested anyway. "That's where Mama used to buy groceries. That's the bus stop where we waited every morning." When they reached the old building, Amara was shocked. It had been completely renovated. New siding, new windows, a fresh coat of paint. The broken elevator had been fixed. The entryway looked clean and welcoming. "You did this?" Amara asked Christopher. "I told you I was renovating it," he said with a small smile. "It's affordable housing now. Nice apartments for families who need them. The rent is based on income, so no one gets priced out." Amara felt tears in her eyes. "You're making such a difference." "We're making a difference," Christopher corrected. "Once you join the foundation board, you'll be part of all these decisions." They drove home, and Amara felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Not just for Christopher, but for the second chance at life she'd been given. She could have died on that apartment floor. Instead, she was here, healthy, loved, part of something meaningful. That evening, after Harmony was asleep, Amara and Christopher talked about the foundation board position more seriously. "I want to focus on programs for single mothers," Amara said. "Childcare assistance, job training, health services. Things that would have helped me." "That's perfect," Christopher said. "Write up a proposal. We'll present it at the next board meeting." Over the next few weeks, Amara threw herself into the project. She researched programs in other cities, talked to social workers, and surveyed families about their needs. She created a comprehensive proposal for a single-parent support initiative. The board meeting was intimidating. These were successful businesspeople, philanthropists, and community leaders. But Amara presented her proposal with confidence, drawing on her own experiences to make her case. "Single mothers are often one emergency away from crisis," she explained. "A sick child means missing work. Missing work means lost income. Lost income means unpaid bills. It's a cycle that's hard to break without support." The board members listened intently. When she finished, they asked thoughtful questions. Then they voted unanimously to approve her proposal with a $500,000 budget for the first year. Jennifer pulled Amara aside after the meeting. "You were incredible in there. Natural leader." "I was terrified," Amara admitted. "Couldn't tell at all," Jennifer said. "I think you found your calling. This work suits you." At home, Christopher was waiting with Harmony. They'd made dinner together, a simple pasta dish that Harmony had helped stir. "How did it go?" Christopher asked eagerly. "They approved it," Amara said, still amazed. "Full funding. We can start the program next quarter." Christopher picked her up and spun her around, both of them laughing. Harmony clapped her hands, delighted by her parents' joy. "Yay, Mama. Yay, Dada." Harmony cheered. That night, as they lay in bed, Amara reflected on how much her life had changed. A year ago she'd been exhausted, broke, and literally dying. Now she was married to a man she loved deeply, her daughter was thriving, she had a career she was passionate about, and she was making a real difference in people's lives. "What are you thinking about?" Christopher asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. "How grateful I am," Amara said. "For you, for this life, for getting a second chance." "I'm the grateful one," Christopher said. "You and Harmony, you've given my life purpose. Meaning. You've shown me what real love looks like." They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, both feeling blessed beyond measure. The adoption date was now just 2 weeks away. Christopher had taken time off work to focus on the final preparations. The party was planned. The judges' chambers were reserved. Everything was ready. One afternoon, Christopher came home with a large wrapped box. "What's this?" Amara asked. "Open it," he said with a mysterious smile. Inside the box was a beautiful leather-bound photo album. But it was empty, with a note on the first page that read, "For Harmony Bennett. The story of how you became our daughter." Amara's eyes filled with tears. "Christopher, this is beautiful. I thought we could fill it together," he said. "Photos from the day we met, through everything we've been through, up to the adoption day. So Harmony will always know her story." They spent that evening going through photos on their phones and computers, selecting images for the album. Pictures of Harmony as a baby. Christopher holding her for the first time in the hospital. Family dinners. Zoo trips. Everyday moments that told the story of their family. "She's going to love this when she's older," Amara said, carefully placing photos in the album. "I want her to know how much she's loved," Christopher said. "How much she's always been loved." As the adoption day drew closer, Harmony seemed to sense something special was happening. She was extra clingy, wanting both her parents near at all times. "It's okay, baby girl," Amara soothed her. "Everything's okay." "Dada?" Harmony asked, reaching for Christopher. "Right here, sweetheart," Christopher said, taking her into his arms. "Dada's right here. Always." The family spent those final days before the adoption just being together. Long walks in the neighborhood. Playing in the backyard. Reading stories. Simple moments that meant everything. Nicole came by to check on them, as she often did, even though her formal duties had ended months ago. She'd become part of their extended family. "How are you feeling about the big day?" Nicole asked Amara. "Excited. Nervous. Grateful," Amara listed. "It's going to make official what's already true in our hearts." "That little girl is lucky to have you both," Nicole said warmly. "And you're lucky to have each other." The night before the adoption, Amara had trouble sleeping. Not from anxiety but from overwhelming emotion. Tomorrow, Christopher would legally become Harmony's father. Their family would be complete in every way. Christopher seemed to sense her restlessness. "Can't sleep?" "Too many feelings," Amara admitted. "Good feelings?" "The best feelings," she confirmed. "I keep thinking about where we were a year ago. How different everything is now." "It's going to be an amazing day tomorrow," Christopher said. "The beginning of our official forever." They held each other close, both thinking about the journey that had brought them here. The pain, the struggle, the unexpected love, the family they'd built together. Tomorrow would be a new chapter. But tonight, they were just grateful for this moment, this love, this life they'd created together. The morning of the adoption arrived with bright sunshine streaming through the bedroom windows. Amara woke up feeling a mixture of excitement and nervousness. Today their family would become official in the eyes of the law. "Good morning, soon-to-be legal mama," Christopher said, already awake and smiling at her. "Good morning, soon-to-be legal dada," Amara replied, returning his smile. They got ready carefully. Amara wore a beautiful blue dress that Christopher had bought for the occasion. Christopher wore a green tie with his suit. They wanted to look their best for this important day. Harmony was still asleep, so they let her rest while they made breakfast. Christopher made pancakes shaped like hearts, and Amara prepared fresh fruit. The house smelled wonderful, like maple syrup and coffee. When Harmony finally woke up, they dressed her in the special purple dress they'd picked out together. It had white flowers embroidered on it, and Harmony loved twirling in it. "Pretty, mama?" Harmony said, admiring herself in the mirror. "You're very pretty, baby girl," Amara agreed. "Today is a special day. Do you know why?" Harmony shook her head, curls bouncing. "Today, Dada becomes your forever Dada," Amara explained in simple terms. "We're going to see a nice lady called a judge, and she's going to say that you're officially Harmony Bennett." "Bennett?" Harmony repeated happily. She didn't fully understand, but she sensed her parents' excitement. Nicole arrived at the house to wish them luck and to take photos before they left. She'd become such an important part of their lives, more family than employee. "You all look beautiful," Nicole said, snapping pictures of the three of them. "This is such a happy day." Frank met them at the courthouse. He looked pleased and confident. "Everything's in order. This should be very straightforward." Judge Martinez is known for being warm in adoption proceedings. They waited in the hallway outside the judge's chambers. Other families were there too, all waiting for their own adoption hearings. There was a feeling of joy in the air, of families being formed and made official. When their turn came, they entered Judge Martinez's chambers. It was less formal than a courtroom, more like a nice office with comfortable chairs. The judge smiled when she saw them. "Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, and this must be Harmony," Judge Martinez said warmly. "Yes, Your Honor," Christopher said, holding Harmony in his arms. The judge reviewed the paperwork one more time, asking a few routine questions. "Mr. Bennett, do you understand that by adopting this child, you are accepting all the legal responsibilities of parenthood? You will be financially and emotionally responsible for her welfare." "I do, Your Honor," Christopher said firmly. "It would be my greatest honor." "And Ms. Bennett, you consent to this adoption?" "Yes, Your Honor," Amara said. "Absolutely." Judge Martinez smiled. "In all my years on the bench, I've rarely seen a family so clearly meant to be together. The home study was exemplary. The social worker's report was glowing. And I can see the love between you all." She picked up her pen and signed the adoption decree. "By the power vested in me by the state, I hereby grant this adoption. Christopher Bennett, you are now legally and forever the father of Harmony Bennett. Congratulations." The moment those words were spoken, Amara started crying. Happy tears streamed down her face. Christopher's eyes were wet too. Even Harmony seemed to understand something important had happened. "Dada," she said, hugging Christopher tightly. "That's right, sweetheart," Christopher said, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm your dada. Forever and ever." Judge Martinez came around her desk to shake their hands. "Congratulations to your family. Harmony is a very lucky little girl." "We're the lucky ones," Amara said sincerely. They took official photos in the judge's chambers. Frank took several pictures of the three of them with Judge Martinez, all holding the signed adoption decree. As they left the courthouse, Amara felt lighter than air. It was done. Official. Christopher was Harmony's legal father. No one could ever take that away. The celebration party was already set up at their house. Christopher's sister had organized everything. When they arrived, the backyard was decorated with colorful balloons and a banner that read, "Welcome home forever, Harmony Bennett." Friends and family were already there. Jennifer, Nicole, Frank, colleagues from both Amara's and Christopher's work, and families from the foundation. Everyone who had been part of their journey. "Speech. Speech," someone called out when they saw Christopher and Amara arrive. Christopher looked at Amara and she nodded encouragingly. He stood up on the porch with Harmony in his arms. "Thank you all for being here," Christopher began. "A little over a year ago, I heard a noise through my apartment wall that changed my life forever. I found Amara and Harmony when they needed help, but the truth is they saved me. They gave my life meaning and purpose. Today, officially becoming Harmony's father is the proudest moment of my life. Thank you for celebrating with us." Everyone clapped and cheered. Harmony waved at the crowd like a little princess. The party was wonderful. There was food, music, and laughter. Harmony played with the other children who were there. Adults mingled and shared stories about the family. Nicole brought out a special cake shaped like a castle. "For our little princess," she said, setting it on the table. As they gathered to sing and cut the cake, Amara felt Christopher's hand in hers. She looked at him and the love in his eyes made her heart swell. "I have something to tell you," Amara whispered to Christopher as the party continued around them. "What is it?" he asked, concerned by her serious tone. "Not here. Later. After everyone leaves. It's good news, but I want to tell you privately first." Christopher looked curious but nodded. "Okay." The party lasted well into the evening. Harmony eventually fell asleep on Christopher's shoulder, exhausted from all the excitement. Nicole offered to put her to bed so Christopher and Amara could enjoy the rest of the celebration. As the last guests finally left, Christopher and Amara stood in the backyard, looking at the decorations still hanging. "What a day," Christopher said. "Perfect in every way." "It was perfect," Amara agreed. "And I have news that makes it even more special." Christopher turned to face her fully. "Tell me." Amara took a deep breath. "I'm pregnant." For a moment, Christopher just stared at her. Then his face broke into the biggest smile she'd ever seen. You're pregnant? We're having a baby? We're having a baby, Amara confirmed. I found out yesterday, but I wanted to wait until after the adoption to tell you. I didn't want anything to overshadow Harmony's special day. Christopher picked her up and spun her around gently, both of them laughing and crying at the same time. This is incredible. Amazing. When? About 7 months. I'm already 8 weeks along. Christopher immediately looked worried. But your heart? Is it safe? What did your doctor say? Amara had expected this concern. I talked to Dr. Patterson. He says as long as I'm carefully monitored and don't overdo it, I should be fine. My heart has been strong for over a year now. The medications are working. He's optimistic. But there are risks, Christopher said, his joy tempered by fear. There are always risks, Amara said gently. But I'm healthy now. I'm not working myself to death. I have support. I have you. This pregnancy will be completely different from when I was carrying Harmony. Christopher pulled her close. I'm scared. I can't lose you. You won't lose me, Amara promised. I'm going to be careful. I'll go to every appointment. I'll rest when I need to. I'll do everything right. They stood together in the backyard, holding each other, processing this new development. Another baby. Another child to love. Their family growing. Harmony's going to be a big sister, Christopher said, the joy returning to his voice. She is, Amara said. What do you think? Boy or girl? Doesn't matter, Christopher said. As long as you're both healthy. They went inside and checked on Harmony, who was sleeping peacefully in her bed. Soon there would be another crib in another room. Another baby to love and cherish. We should tell people, Christopher said. Your doctor said everything looks good? Everything looks perfect, Amara confirmed. But let's wait a few more weeks. Make sure the first trimester goes smoothly. Then we'll share the news. That night, as they lay in bed, both were too excited to sleep. They talked about names, about how to prepare Harmony, about all the changes that would come. Are you scared? Christopher asked. A little, Amara admitted. But mostly I'm excited. We're going to have a baby together. A little piece of both of us. I love you so much, Christopher said, his hand gently resting on her still flat stomach. Both of you. All three of you. Amara placed her hand over his. We love you too. The next morning, Amara had her first appointment with Dr. Patterson about the pregnancy. Christopher insisted on coming along. They left Harmony with Nicole and went together. Dr. Patterson did an ultrasound. Everything looks healthy, he said, showing them the tiny image on the screen. Strong heartbeat. Growing right on schedule. And Amara's heart? Christopher asked anxiously. Her heart is stable, the doctor confirmed. We'll monitor closely throughout the pregnancy. Monthly checkups instead of the usual schedule. If we see any signs of stress on her heart, we'll adjust the plan. But right now, I'm optimistic. They left the appointment feeling reassured. Christopher held the ultrasound picture carefully, staring at it in wonder. That's our baby, he said softly. That's our baby, Amara agreed. Over the next few weeks, Amara experienced typical early pregnancy symptoms. Morning sickness, fatigue, emotional mood swings. Christopher was attentive and supportive, making sure she rested and ate well. Harmony seemed to sense something was different with her mother. She was extra gentle, often patting Amara's belly and saying, Mama okay? Mama's okay, baby, Amara would reassure her. Mama's very okay. When Amara reached 12 weeks, they decided it was time to share the news. They invited Christopher's sister, Nicole, Jennifer, and Frank over for dinner. After the meal, Christopher stood up with Harmony in his arms. We have an announcement. Amara? Amara stood beside him, smiling. We're having a baby. I'm 12 weeks pregnant. The room erupted in excited congratulations. Christopher's sister cried happy tears. Nicole hugged them both. Jennifer and Frank offered warm wishes. This is wonderful news, Nicole said. Harmony's going to be such a good big sister. Baby? Harmony asked, not quite understanding but picking up on the excitement. Yes, sweetie, Amara said. You're going to have a baby brother or sister. Harmony clapped her hands. Baby. Baby. Everyone laughed at her enthusiasm. As the evening wound down and guests left, Amara felt overwhelmingly grateful. A year ago, she'd been alone and struggling. Now she had a husband who loved her, a daughter who was officially his, a baby on the way, a career she loved, and friends who cared about her. Life wasn't perfect. There would be challenges ahead. The pregnancy would require careful monitoring. Balancing work, school, and 2 children would be difficult. But she knew they could handle whatever came. Because they had love. They had hope. They had each other. And that was everything. 6 months later, Amara sat in a rocking chair in the newly decorated nursery, her pregnant belly large and round. She was due in 3 weeks and everything was ready. The room was painted a soft yellow, filled with baby clothes, blankets, and toys. The pregnancy had gone surprisingly well. Dr. Patterson monitored her closely, and her heart remained strong. There had been a few scary moments when her blood pressure spiked, but careful management had kept things under control. Harmony, now almost 3 years old, was excited about becoming a big sister. She'd help pick out baby clothes and often talk to Amara's belly, telling the baby about all the fun things they would do together. "Baby come soon?" Harmony asked for the 100th time that week. "Very soon, sweetie," Amara said, stroking her daughter's hair. "Maybe 2 or 3 more weeks." Christopher walked into the nursery with a cup of herbal tea for Amara. "How are my 3 favorite people?" he asked. "We're good," Amara said, accepting the tea. "Just impatient." "You're on maternity leave now," Christopher reminded her. "You're supposed to be resting, not reorganizing the nursery for the 5th time." Amara laughed. "I can't help it. I want everything perfect." Over the past months, so much had happened. Amara had successfully launched the Single Parent Support Program through Christopher's foundation. In just 6 months, they'd helped over 50 families with childcare, job training, and emergency assistance. The program was already being recognized as a model for other cities. Christopher's community center was thriving. The after-school programs were full. The job training classes had a waiting list. Families were being helped every single day. Amara had also completed another semester of school. She was now more than halfway through her degree program. She'd taken this semester off for the baby but planned to resume classes in the fall. One afternoon, about a week before her due date, Amara received a call from Jennifer. "I have a situation at one of the hotels," Jennifer said. "There's a young mother, front desk clerk, she collapsed at work. They took her to the hospital. She's okay, but she has a young child and no support system. I immediately thought of you and the foundation program." Amara felt a chill. This was exactly her story from a year and a half ago. "What's her name?" Amara asked. "Leticia Rodriguez. She's 26, has a 2-year-old daughter, works 2 jobs. Sounds familiar, right?" "Very familiar." "I want to help," Amara said immediately. "Can you get me her information?" "Are you sure? You're about to have a baby." "I'm sure," Amara said firmly. "This is exactly why we created the program." That evening, Amara and Christopher visited Leticia in the hospital. The young woman looked scared and overwhelmed, exactly how Amara had felt. "Hi Leticia, I'm Amara Bennett. This is my husband Christopher. We run a foundation that helps families in difficult situations." Leticia looked suspicious. "I don't need charity." "It's not charity," Amara said gently, sitting down beside the bed. "It's support. And I know how hard it is to accept help. I was in your exact situation a year and a half ago. I collapsed at work. I had a heart attack. My daughter was alone with me. I understand what you're going through." Leticia's eyes widened. "You had a heart attack too?" "I did. From stress and exhaustion. I was working myself to death trying to provide for my daughter." Amara gestured to Christopher. "Christopher found us and helped us. He paid my medical bills, gave us a place to live, supported me getting back on my feet. And now we want to help you." "Why?" Leticia asked, tears forming in her eyes. "Why would you help a stranger?" "Because someone helped me," Amara said simply. "And because you deserve support. Your daughter deserves to have a healthy mother. Let us help." Over the next hour, they explained the foundation's programs. Housing assistance, job placement, childcare support, medical expense help. Everything Leticia needed. "I don't know what to say," Leticia whispered. "Say yes," Christopher said kindly. "Say you'll accept the help with gratitude, and when you're back on your feet, you'll pay it forward by helping someone else." Leticia nodded, crying. "Yes, thank you. Thank you so much." As they left the hospital, Amara felt a deep sense of purpose. This was why everything had happened. So she could help others who were in the same situation. So she could turn her pain into something meaningful. "You were amazing in there," Christopher said as they drove home. "I was just honest," Amara replied. "I remember how it feels to be desperate and afraid. If our story can help others, then everything we went through was worth it." 3 days later, Amara went into labor. It happened in the middle of the night, just like in movies. Christopher was calm and prepared. They'd practiced this moment. Nicole came to stay with Harmony while they rushed to the hospital. Dr. Patterson met them there, and everything proceeded smoothly. 8 hours later, after careful monitoring and an uneventful delivery, their son was born. 7 pounds 4 ounces with a full head of dark hair in his father's eyes. "He's perfect," Christopher said, holding his son for the first time. Tears streamed down his face. "He's beautiful," Amara agreed, exhausted but happy. They named him Marcus Bennett, after Christopher's late mother whose maiden name was Marcus. It was a strong name, full of meaning and love. Harmony came to meet her baby brother the next day. Nicole brought her to the hospital and she was fascinated by the tiny baby. "Baby Marcus," Harmony said softly, gently touching his tiny hand. "That's right, sweetie," Amara said. "Your baby brother." "I big sister," Harmony announced proudly. "You're the best big sister," Christopher confirmed, hugging her. They brought Marcus home 2 days later. The house felt complete now with all 4 of them there. Harmony was surprisingly gentle with the baby, often bringing him toys and singing to him. The first few weeks were exhausting. Newborn life meant sleepless nights and constant feedings. But Christopher was an equal partner, taking night shifts, changing diapers and supporting Amara as she recovered. Amara's heart remained strong throughout the postpartum period. Dr. Patterson was pleased with her recovery. "You did it," he told her at her 6-week checkup. "You proved that with proper care and support, you can have a healthy pregnancy and delivery despite your previous heart attack. You're a success story." When Marcus was 2 months old, Amara received her semester grades. Despite taking the semester off officially, she'd completed some online coursework. She'd earned straight A's. "I'm so proud of you," Christopher said, looking at her transcript. "Working full-time, being a mom to 2 kids and still getting perfect grades. You're incredible." "I have good support," Amara said, kissing him. "I couldn't do any of this without you." One Saturday afternoon when Marcus was 3 months old, the whole family went to visit the community center. The single-parent support program was hosting an appreciation event for all the families they'd helped. Letitia was there with her daughter Sophia. She looked healthy and happy. She'd gotten a better job, moved into stable housing and had her health under control. "Amara," Letitia called out when she saw them. "I'm so glad you're here. I wanted you to meet Sophia." The 2 women hugged. Harmony and Sophia immediately started playing together. "How are you doing?" Amara asked. "I'm doing great," Letitia said. "Because of you and Christopher, I have my life back. I got promoted at work. Sophia's in a good daycare. We have a nice apartment. Everything's stable. And I'm volunteering with the foundation now, helping other mothers who need support." "That's wonderful," Amara said, genuinely happy. "You saved my life," Letitia said seriously. "Just like Christopher saved yours. And now I'm going to save someone else's. That's how it works, right?" "That's exactly how it works," Amara agreed. "Kindness creates more kindness. Hope creates more hope. Love creates more love." As the day went on, Amara and Christopher met dozens of families whose lives had been changed by the Foundation's programs. Single mothers who now had stable jobs. Families in safe housing. Children in good schools. Every story was a testament to what was possible when people helped each other. That evening, after both children were asleep, Amara and Christopher sat on their back porch under the stars, just like they'd done so many times before. "Can you believe everything that's happened?" Amara asked. "Sometimes I feel like I'm living someone else's life." "It's your life," Christopher said. "The life you've built through your strength and resilience." "The life we built together," Amara corrected. "I couldn't have done any of this alone." "And you'll never have to," Christopher promised. "We're a team. Forever." Amara thought about the journey that had brought them here. The heart attack that nearly killed her. The stranger who saved her life. The love that grew between them. The family they'd created. The work they were doing to help others. "I was thinking," Amara said, "when I finish my degree next year, I want to work for the foundation full-time. Managing the support programs, expanding them to reach more families. That's where my heart is." "What about the hotels?" Christopher asked. "I love hotel management," Amara said. "But I love helping families more. That work feels like my true calling." "Then that's what you should do," Christopher said immediately. "We'll make it work." They sat in comfortable silence, both thinking about the future. There would be challenges ahead. Raising 2 children, managing careers, continuing the foundation's work. But they would face everything together. Inside the house, Marcus started crying. Christopher and Amara looked at each other and smiled. "I'll get him," Christopher offered. "We'll both get him," Amara said, standing up. They walked inside together, partners in every sense. Christopher picked up Marcus while Amara grabbed a bottle. They worked in perfect sync, the result of months of practice and years of love. As Christopher fed Marcus, Amara checked on Harmony. Their daughter was sleeping peacefully, clutching her favorite stuffed rabbit, the same one she'd had since before the heart attack. Amara thought about that terrible day when she'd collapsed. How terrified she'd been. How certain she was that she was dying. How she'd thought Harmony would be left alone. But that day had led to this life. That moment of crisis had opened the door to more love, more purpose, more meaning than she'd ever imagined possible. She'd learned that accepting help wasn't weakness. That love could come from unexpected places. That second chances were real. That kindness and hope could change everything. Christopher appeared in the doorway with Marcus, now fed and drowsy. "Ready for bed?" he asked. "Ready," Amara confirmed. They put Marcus in his crib and stood together, watching their son sleep. Then they checked on Harmony one more time before heading to their own room. As they got ready for bed, Amara thought about how different her life was now compared to that desperate time before her heart attack. She'd been surviving then. Now she was thriving. She had a husband who loved her completely. 2 beautiful children. A career that fulfilled her. Work that made a difference. Friends who cared. Financial security. Health. Happiness. Everything she'd ever wanted but never dared to dream was possible. "What are you smiling about?" Christopher asked, noticing her expression. "Everything," Amara said simply. "I'm smiling about everything." They climbed into bed and Christopher pulled her close. "I love you." "I love you too," Amara said. "Thank you for choosing us. For loving us. For building this life with us." "Best decision I ever made," Christopher said. "Hearing that noise through the wall and deciding to check on you. It changed my life." "It changed all our lives," Amara agreed. As they drifted off to sleep, Amara felt profoundly grateful. Grateful for the heart attack that had nearly killed her but instead had led her to this life. Grateful for Christopher's kindness. Grateful for second chances. Grateful for love. She'd learned that sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. That crisis can be opportunity. That when you're at your lowest point, that's when miracles can happen. She'd also learned that accepting help wasn't giving up, it was growing up. That allowing people to love you and support you wasn't weakness, it was wisdom. That independence didn't mean doing everything alone, it meant building a life you were proud of with people who cared about you. Most importantly, she'd learned that love, hope, and kindness were the most powerful forces in the world. They could heal broken hearts. They could save lives. They could transform everything. And that was the story she would tell her children as they grew. The story of how a single mother collapsed while holding her baby, and how that moment of crisis became the beginning of something beautiful. The story of how one man's kindness saved 2 lives and created a family. The story of how accepting help led to helping others. The story of how love, when given freely and received with gratitude, could change absolutely everything. As Amara fell asleep in Christopher's arms, she smiled. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new joys, new opportunities to spread the kindness they'd received. But tonight she was simply grateful. Grateful to be alive. Grateful to be loved. Grateful for this beautiful, imperfect, wonderful life. And that was more than enough. It was everything.